ordered some more coffee for everybody. Everybody's comfortable. All right. I think Tanya asked me to MC this part because I was an MC a couple weeks ago in the awards banquet, and John was there, John Faust was there, and as well as Stella. And I kind of wove a fabric of 3 books I've recently read. Anne Rand, Atlas Shrugged, David McCullough, The Johnstown Flood, and D.H. Lawrence, Lady Chatterley's Lover. And when I told my mom about it, she said I killed. So I figured, okay, this is good. So tonight I figured, well, I'm going to talk about a couple books I recently read and do the same thing when I introduce the presenters. One is Susan Collins' The Hunger Games. Now, I have a 15-year-old and she's enthralled with that book. And so I read it this weekend coming back from New York. And the best quote was, find water and stay alive. Well, that doesn't seem to fit you all. So then I went to another book I recently read, and that is by Lee Child, who writes about Jack Reacher, a ex-military policeman who's kind of a vigilante. And doesn't sound like you all know Lee Child, but it's a wonderful pulp fiction. And he had a couple nice quotes, and one is, 3 can keep a secret if 2 are dead, and that's from him. And that isn't quite fit because these 3 presenters have always believed in transparency, and that's something that went forward with the Tyson's Task Force and with our Citizen of the Year, with the work he did to extend that. The other quote was, do it once and do it right. And I think that encapsulates our 3 presenters tonight. One is a mom of an Iraqi veteran. Another is a jailhouse friend of George Clooney. And the other is one of the smartest guys I know. So if I can have Madam Hanley, she likes to be called Madam, Congressman Connolly and Congressman Moran come on up to present the 62nd Citizen of the Year.
Well, both Jerry and I have a congressional record. It seems to me we ought to do the honors jointly here. Maybe you can read something and then I'll read something, and there's no point in taking everybody's time. What do you want to do? Why don't I read a paragraph and then you read a paragraph? You know why I do that? You don't read it. Holy smokes, this is a book. Look at, there's 2 columns here. No wonder he doesn't read it.
Maybe I'll go first. Well, as you know, we're 9 days away from the holiest day of the year, St. Patrick's Day. And I was looking at Pete Murphy, the chairman of the Planning Commission, and you may not know this about Murphy, but he was on a cruise in a freighter, and it sunk. And he was alone with another Irishman, Paddy, and the 2 of them don't know a thing about survival at sea. So they're rummaging around the bottom of the lifeboat, and sure enough, doesn't Murphy find a lantern? And he looks at Paddy and says, you know, it could be magic. So Paddy says, well, rub it, let's see. So Murphy rubbed it, and sure enough, a genie appeared. And the genie says, now lads, before you get excited, I'm not your normal genie. There's only 1 wish, not 3. And without thinking, Murphy said, turn the sea into beer. Oh, it's done. Paddy's upset. He turns to Murphy and says, you damn fool, now we have to pee in the boat. But I do want to just say, I want to add congratulations to our Citizen of the Year tonight. You are in Tyson's Corner. And the future of Northern Virginia, really, it's not an exaggeration to say this, the future of Northern Virginia depends on whether we get it right. The commercial base of this place is about Tyson's. The tax base of Fairfax County and all the services we hold dear is about Tyson's Corner. The future of our environmental stewardship is about Tyson's Corner, where 80% of the stormwater is not treated. Where we have 46 million square feet of stuff on the ground, like this place, and 41 million square feet of impervious surface. More than God intended man ever to have. And we have an opportunity with rail coming on the way to Dulles Airport to change that, to transform it, to change the pattern of development, to improve the quality of life, and to get Tyson's right as an urban center of the future with a distinct Northern Virginia Fairfax imprint on it. And if there's one person who gets all of that and has shepherded a complicated Tyson's plan through such that we now have 17 rezonings pending pursuant to it, and it's going to transform this place for the better and exploit the fact that we finally got rail, and that's Walter Alcorn on the Planning Commission. Walter has done an outstanding job. And he's done it in a way that has allowed, for some people, the counterintuitive medicine to go down kind of sweet. Because there are legitimate concerns in neighboring Vienna and neighboring McLean particularly, and in surrounding neighborhoods. What does this mean for us? And Walter made sure that all those concerns were respected. All of those concerns were heard. And that in the process he weaved, nonetheless, we had an outcome. We were not stymied. And it's a process we could use in the federal Congress, I think, Jim. Not that you should run for Congress, I don't mean that.
Yes, Congressman.
But we could benefit. But anyway, I think Walter Alcorn is one of the outstanding members of the Planning Commission. He has really helped change this place in his own quiet, firm, but effective way. And we are honored and delighted that you continue to be willing to serve. Thank you, Walter, for all you do.
Kate says she's going to change the tone. We've been here for a little while, and some of you are trying to figure out whether you made sure that you T-voted the first episode of Mad Men tonight. But the bottom line is that Walter Alcorn has devoted an enormous amount of his still young adult life to making Tyson's work, as heading the task force, making sure that all of the rezoning fit, having a vision that shared the need for revenue with the respect for the residential character of all of the residential communities surrounding Tyson's, but centered on public transit. And I do think it's going to work. I think it's going to enable those million-plus residents to have somewhat lower property taxes because of the revenue that will be generated. It's an area that had to be redone, had to be public transit centered, and involves so many people that it was a Herculean task. So it's invariably, it's people who are not paid, but who simply decide, look, this is something I know enough about, I care enough about, to make a difference. And you've shown extraordinary leadership, and there's going to be millions of people who will have benefited into the future as a result. So, when your kids who wanted you, coaching Little League, or, the folks at your parish who wanted you volunteering and so on, but hopefully now get a little of your time, and your lovely wife is here. At some point, as they live out their lives and have children, they're going to have so much reason to point with pride to their father and their grandfather for all that he did to to advance the vision of Fairfax County. And so, Walter, this is a very well-deserved award. Thank you all for all that you've done.
The tone difference being I'm going to do a little history and not talk quite so much about Tyson's, and I don't know any jokes. Many years ago, I believe it was the summer of '87, the spring of '87, I was the Providence supervisor. I know that's hard to remember, but I was. Tyson's Corner is in Providence District. And I didn't know Walter at all, but knew Walter's older brother, Dan. And Dan was muttering at me on the phone. He lived in Providence District, that Walter was coming for the summer between his 3rd and 4th year at UVA. Yes, that's how young Walter is, or how old Walter is, depending on how you want to look at it. And what was Dan going to do with him for the summer? And I said, send him to me. I need him in my office. And Walter came and worked for the summer. And we sent him back to school to live on the lawn with a wonderful blue fuzzy bathrobe so he could run around, and I'm told he still has it, or maybe it's now been thrown out. But you know what? He came back after he graduated, and his major task was every bit as challenging as Tyson's. He was in charge of the oil spill, the tank farm from Fairfax City into Providence District. And Walter worked with a very tense number of citizens, with a very tense supervisor. Jerry Conley was the tensest of all citizens. He was the Mantua Citizens Association president. And Walter worked then with the citizens so well that I said, wow, what an exceptional temperament for working with citizens and bringing people together. Fast forward a lot of years, I became chairman of the Board of Supervisors, and I needed to put people on the Planning Commission at large, and I thought of Walter. And so Walter was appointed to the Planning Commission, and he has, I think by all, that everyone would agree, been an exceptional planning commissioner. But he has been exceptional for Tyson's Corner, and you've heard all the facts and figures and all those things about Tyson's, in that he has brought citizens together who have a variety of views that are very, very deeply held, and has the well-deserved reputation for giving everyone a chance to have their say, and everyone feels like they've had an input. Now, there are a lot of people in this room that I've appointed to things, and some of them are even still speaking to me. I was talking to Doug Coulombe tonight about CTV, and I don't think he's gotten over that yet. But Walter is still speaking to me, which is exceptional, because he has done a wonderful job of being part of this community and being sure that he ensures the future of this community. We need people like Walter to bring us together and move us forward. Congratulations, Walter. I think
Walter, if you want to join with Christina, and Christina, you want to join him, and you show them to him?
Do you have stuff for Walter?
Here you go, Walter.
Get over here.